Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Granddaddy Files. My name is Clayton, the Catalyst 41 on the THP forum, and I have my co-host Kev with me. And we also have a couple of guys that we want to introduce. You guys know them as ZBeekner and TomCat, but we'll let them tell you guys a little bit about themselves in a moment. First of all, how are you guys?
Awesome. Great.
Good.
Glad to have you, man. Listen, so we just wanted to take a few minutes of your time. Wanted to make sure the forum got a chance to meet you guys, put a sexy face with the name, and of course, get a chance to know you guys before the big event in December. So maybe, Spencer, we can kick it off with you, and you just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am TomCat on the forum, and that stems from my love of aircraft and aviation. So that is after the jet fighter, and not
my
urge to chase after women.
You should tell the story the other way, though.
Yeah, my wife questioned that quite a bit when she first heard that. She said, "Don't you believe that they're going to start wondering what in the world you're thinking?" No. Anyway, airplanes. Anyway, my name is Spencer. I live in the DFW Metroplex, and I've been playing golf really for more or less 4 years. I'm the King of Pops high capper for the team right now, so out having a whole bunch of fun. I got 3 kids, been married for 11 years or 10 years now. So
awesome,
I've been on THP for about the same amount of time, 4 years. So it's been pretty awesome.
How many events have you been in, Spencer?
This will be number 4. I was in the Shaft Spectacular with US Team EMEA back in 2016, so I got fit by Danny for shafts. Thanks to Cookie's kindness, ended up with a set of Big Bertha irons with recoils. Then was in 2017 Morgan Cup with your co-host Kevin as a partner, and that was pretty awesome. And then was lucky enough to participate in the sweep a year and a half ago. Kicked my tail in that one, but still was lucky enough to get to go out to Cleveland to get a set of wedges after that event. So this is number 4. So I am been very fortunate so far.
That is a heck of a streak, dude. Well, 2 things. One, I don't know who's going to track aviation for us this year, man. Would you be in the event?
That's a good point.
You have to get Wi-Fi on the flight.
Yeah, you have to keep the forum posted, man, because we're used to it. And then secondly, I think it was probably not very difficult to be high cap on this team. You guys got a lot of papers.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling no pressure whatsoever.
No, you guys are in good shape on that front.
I can tell you from experience in partnering with Spencer, it's pretty awesome to have those pops on some holes.
No kidding. Pops are good. You don't want to be giving them away.
Right.
Awesome. How about you, Zach?
Well, my name's Zach, ZBeekner 4 on the forum. Z and then Beekner is just the phonetic spelling of my last name, but been playing golf since college. My roommate, one of my first roommates in college was on the golf team, and he invited me to kind of go hit balls with him one day, and just kind of got the itch from there. Took a job working at a country club during school, and was fortunate because I worked about 1 day a week and played about 4 or 5 days a week. So really took advantage of that first job. But I was, but I learned quickly that it was going to take a lot of work to be good at this game. So I started taking lessons. Anyways, fast forward to about to today, where I am married. I have a almost 2-year-old. And I live in Atlanta, and that's about it. I'm an athletic trainer, so I work in sports medicine, take care of high school athletes. But I've been at just about every level of sports, so I've kind of seen a lot of different athletes over the years in my short career. But
So if somebody takes a golf ball to the head at ECPC, you can take care of them.
Yeah, I could. We could run down some concussion protocol. We could take care of them for sure. If that scenario were to come up
ever comes up
for the second year in a row.
I was thinking more. They've got somebody to help old man Spencer there recover after the rounds.
Yeah, we can do that too. We can do some quick recovery. We got things to help that.
I think this is just kind of looking at you two guys. I think this is the beauty of THP, right? So you've got one guy who's been around the game pretty much since he was pretty young, right? And taking lessons, really extensive, playing 14 years, I think you said. And then you've got another guy who's been exposed to the game for the last 3 or 4 years, which is actually similar to my story. I've been around the game a little bit longer, but playing, it's closer to 3 or 4 years, consistently playing. So it's cool seeing how THP brings so many different guys of diverse golf backgrounds together.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
I was going to say, I probably never even would have gotten into golf had it not been because I grew up tennis until I had a knee injury. And that kind of got me into golf when I couldn't really run on the court. So you never know what will happen to get you into this.
Nice.
Zach, have you been to any events yet?
Yeah, I've actually been very fortunate, much like Spencer. My first event, I actually played in the 2017 Gauntlet that was also sponsored by Callaway. Yep. We had so it was teams of 4, and one of, each team had a member of the Callaway team. So I was actually teamed with Ethan from the Zoo Crew. So I'm a little familiar with playing with them. Our team did end up winning. So technically I've never lost to Jason Finley in a competition. So I've got that kind of on record, just kind of like holding that in the back of my head, until maybe we get to, closer to the event. But yeah. And then, most recently last year I got to play in the 2 Titleist events, the Wedge event and then the Woods event out in Oceanside. So
yeah. I think Zach just put a target on his back.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm okay with targets on my back.
Yeah, that's definitely a good pairing. I feel like that might need to happen.
Yep. So.
Well, if I'm going to call somebody out, I probably expect it's probably going to come back butt at some point. So.
You bet. What's your handicap, Zach?
Right now it's about a 4.5. I think I had a good round just last weekend and shot a 2 over, and that put me trending to, I think, back down to 4.2. So I might be giving pops in December, which I don't really want to be doing.
This has to be one of the most loaded teams ever.
I'm telling you, like if I ever got down to a 4, like I would be throwing a block party and like filming the event. Like it's a big deal. That's pretty awesome.
It's funny because we're talking with some of the other teammates, and I'm not like by 3 or 4 strokes on my handicap, I'm not the best one on our team. So there's some real ringers on this team for sure.
Yeah, that could lead to some pretty interesting matchups.
It could.
when it comes down to it.
Especially if you guys are giving pops to the Zoo Crew on a course that you've never played, but they're pretty familiar with. So that could get interesting.
That's very true. Very true. Well, I know a couple of them are all around 5 or below, right? Or there's a handful of them that are 5 or below, I think. So I think, if there's a couple of groups that may go out with just straight no pops, I think that would be some really fun matches in there.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing for you guys is multiple Zoo Crew members have just had kids in the last couple of years, so they're still adjusting to golf after kids, I think, too.
Well, I got to classify myself in that too.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Awesome, man. Well, let's jump into some questions for you guys. I want to start off with the most important question at this point. Chick-fil-A or Popeye's chicken sandwich?
I'm gonna have to go Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A started in Georgia, started in South Atlanta, so I'm gonna go with the hometown Chick-fil-A.
So that's not flavor based. That's just more or less.
I mean, they're both good. They're both good. I wouldn't hate either one of them, but I'm sticking with Chick-fil-A.
Sweet.
And I got to say that I've not had the Popeye sandwich yet, but I would seriously like to. I was just sitting there looking at a commercial a minute ago. It was a Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it was a macaroni and cheese bowl with spicy chicken on top. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's just coming from everywhere. But so Chick-fil-A is the only thing I know.
The guns are blazing in the fast food industry right now.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
So kind of along the same lines, breakfast at the Hideaway, breakfast slider or yogurt parfait?
Oh, slider.
I figured probably
who gets the yogurt parfait?
Dude, those things are awesome.
It's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. It's just kind of a different world right now. Like it's kind of like the slider is Marvel and the parfait is DC Comics right now. It's just
pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you guys a question. We always talk about the slider, but I don't know if the ingredients have ever been formally released. Can you tell us what's in a slider, Clayton?
It's so it's actually little pieces of heaven. Like
okay, all right. Bun. That's what they start with.
Yeah, so there's some eggs, there's some cheese. Was there bacon? I think there's bacon. I think there's like little pieces of love that are like just kind of drizzled in and mixed in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The seasoning is shredded up unicorn horn.
Yeah, I definitely think that was there. I think Jesus was in the back mixing up the eggs. It's just amazing, dude.
That's awesome. Well, I can't. That is definitely something I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to have one of those things. They seem to be a little infamous.
What do you mean one?
I mean, that's what you're supposed to be like polite and say that you had one, but you really flip an extra 2 into your pockets for the first team.
Got to go that route.
So the team's really starting to fill out here. We have 3 members left?
3 members left and 1 current contest up with the Firestarter threads.
Yeah, so I'd expect that to be filled up here early this week, I would think.
Definitely.
So, as we're getting closer, as the team's getting filled out, what's been the chatter with the team lately? Without releasing secrets.
I think a lot of it is footwear, clothing, golf scores, and pretty much everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
From about 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. It's just an ongoing thread.
Oh man, you guys tap out for a few hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily pertinent for the forum. Just what do you need to bring? What extra stuff should we? How maybe informally how are we going to prepare? Leading up to December, and then. We kind of share just about each other's personal lives, personal struggles, triumphs, pretty much everything in our lives that is kind of going on. Just kind of creating a really good team bond. Just learning about each other, talking about each other's families, and kind of how we've all kind of gotten to this place together. So it's really cool to kind of just meet and learn about, each member. And by the time we get to December, I know the last person may not know much, but I feel like me, Spencer, and the rest of the team will know a lot about each other by the time we get there in December.
Yeah, you'll show up in the thread, you'll open it in late afternoon, and there'll be 200 messages you got to dig back through and see, any important. Someone will just say, hey, give me a recap.
You're hearing this, Clayton? 200.
Yeah,
Child's play.
Yeah, you guys have got to step it up. Nobody's like splitting out messages like one letter at a time or anything. I mean,
no, the fun thing is, like, and we've said this before, but once the event is over, it doesn't stop. I mean, I still come out of the office and I've got 200 messages. So it just that's what's so much fun about the Granddaddies. It just keeps going afterwards.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Question, I think this makes a good segue. So you talked a lot about the the engagement you guys have amongst each other, just building the morale and kind of the camaraderie within the team. But from an engagement perspective, obviously the forums, the threads are a big part of this event. And during the event, obviously, and then even after, but specifically during the event, how are you guys tackling engagement? Every team's done it differently. And so I think both individually and as a team, every team kind of has a way that they go about it. How are you guys kind of looking at that now in advance?
Well, I can go ahead and start that. I think, well, some of the discussion that we've had most recently is stemmed around the updates to the forum, and how will that affect, since Tap Talk may not be the mobile app that we would be using, how does that affect how we go about updating during a round? Is the new app that THP is going to be putting out, will that be easier? Will that be, less involved? So a lot of the discussion recently has been about how will just from a software standpoint, how are we going to be going around updating? And I think just seeing what the group as a whole has done so far, just, in our individual threads that you see throughout the forum of, hey, this is kind of how my practice and my trek to the granddaddy, how that's going. I don't think there's going to be any issue with anybody posting, the information that they want to get out there. I think right now in this time that we're in is more of a, how are we going to do that? What means? Right. I don't think there's any concern that we'll have a means. It's just we haven't used it yet. We haven't seen it, what that's going to be. Is it going to be just a mobile website or the app going to be running? Good thing is that we've got like 4 months or so until that time gets here. So whatever is rolled out, we'll have plenty of time to get used to it. So that's been good. But a lot there has been a lot of discussion on that.
I think, I'll piggyback on that. That's been a big kind of discussion. And then even, what we did with, I believe actually Spencer started the thread, and he actually did a lot of the legwork for it, but the Meet the Granddaddy Team thread that kind of introduced everybody, put faces to names, to forum names, to a little bit about each one of us. I think that was one real critical point we wanted to exaggerate, is making sure that the members and the people who are on THP and really guests of THP learn about us, because I know when I first joined THP, I met Shannon Dew, who's Southern Shred on the forum. And he was he was the reason I wanted to follow the 2016 Granddaddy. Right. And so he brought me along. And so that forced me to, really want to be a part of the community and be a part of the Granddaddy and post and join and be more active. So I think when you bring the whole forum around, and this is kind of, this is not my ideas, but just echoing what we've kind of created as a team, is just, we want everyone to know us as best as possible, so that people are interested in how we do and how the Granddaddy event unfolds, and how that's going to happen in December. And I think that's really what we're aiming to do from an engagement standpoint before the event. You can't review equipment yet. We can't do a lot of the reviews of the hideaway and how the event went, but we can bring people to know us, and know the team, and maybe have an emotional connection with us by the time December rolls around, so that, when that live thread opens on Sunday morning-ish, everybody will want to know how Spencer's doing, how Zach's doing, how each one of the members are doing. And I think that's one thing that we've really focused on.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's nice. It has been nice being able to get to know you guys leading up to this a little more.
Yeah, you guys are killing engagement right now with the new threads and just kind of some of the questions out there. I think that's part of it, is that even though a lot of the engagement for this specifically is around the event, to your point, all the other interactions in the forum give everyone a chance to learn a little bit more about you, how you interact, how you, your preferences, things that you like, things that you don't. And so that's just fuel to the fire when, you know, guys are following along. In reality, everybody's going to have their favorites. You know, they're guys on the team that they're pulling for, that they're going to be watching their scores and tracking along with and checking for the videos and reality. So it's cool to be able to create that identity on a larger scale in the forum and let people really kind of tap into who you are.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what we were going for. I think one thing in past THP events, if you guys have seen, is sometimes you get a picture or a video and you're not really sure who that is.
Right.
And I think that was one thing we really wanted to do is make sure people knew faces to names to forum names and all. So we're excited about kind of where we're going with it right now.
Because especially with as many mics as we have on this team, we're going to have to know faces.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's you guys, as many chances you get, you just gotta, while you're in the group, just yell out, "Hey, Mike," and get out there, man.
Or "Hey, guy from Texas," because we also have all Texans on our team apparently.
Hey, just a little bit of granddaddy trivia, that anybody that's out there that wants to get in a future granddaddy, should they return, you really need to come to DFW, because there's been one person on each granddaddy team from DFW every year, at least one.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Good odds. Good odds.
So yeah, exactly.
Spencer dropping the granddaddy knowledge.
That's just one of those things I got to thinking. I was like, Monroe, Nate, Bill.
Hey, maybe it'll be in a contest soon. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah. So either be named Mike or live around Dallas.
Or live around Dallas. Or both.
Yeah.
Your odds are really good.
Yep. Yeah. So when you're looking at the Callaway team, anybody in particular that you're interested or really looking forward to either hanging out with or getting out on the course and playing against? I mean, Zach's already put a target on Finley.
Yeah, it's fine.
A target on his own back.
Yeah, it's okay.
Go ahead.
So I guess, I mean, really, I really enjoyed a couple of years ago playing with Ethan.
Great guy.
And so I would love to maybe not necessarily play against him, but I hope that I'll get a chance to just be in his group on one of the days in the Hideaway. And I think that would be a lot of fun. But honestly, I've heard so many good things about every single one of the members. So any of those guys, I'm sure that we would have a blast. And it's the granddaddy at the Hideaway. I mean, I'm not sure that I'm going to play anybody or be paired up with anybody that's not going to be it's not going to end up being the best experience of all time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have someone specific in mind. I certainly am not going to throw any challenges down. I don't have the stick right now to back that up.
Pops, baby.
I will gladly take anybody and enjoy it. I've always liked listening to D Nevs on the Fitting Room and the different podcasts he's on. Just the sheer amount of knowledge that he has about equipment and things like that would be awesome. I'm here because of AJ and the name I came up for him, but so that would be fun. But like Zach said, I think any of them and all of them would be just an absolute blast to play with.
Yeah. So now, Spencer, have you had a actual full bag fitting before, or is this going to be your first go round?
This will be my first full bag. With Danny at the very beginning, we did a driver fitting, and then last November I got a wedge fitting out in California with from the sweep thing. But those are the only ones I've been fit, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Awesome. So now here's a question for both of you guys. Which clubs in your bag would you say you are most comfortable with? I think everybody has at least one go-to club they just love, they can count on, they are really comfortable with. And then which one would you say is the least? And are you guys considering making some modifications to your bag based on those things?
Right now, my 3-wood has been pretty consistent. I just played 9 holes this last week and actually had my personal best, which was awesome. And only did 3-wood twice, but it was very, very comfortable with it. I haven't had any major issues with it. My putter was feeling good. So I really, really like the EXO Indy right now.
Nice.
Really enjoy that. So the driver, I'll be happy to see what they've got. I'm still in the XR16. I love it, but I'm good with that. I'm looking forward to getting the new irons, get fit for those. I'm playing 1-length irons right now. I like them, but I really, really like some of the things that Callaway has out right now. I would absolutely love to be able to hit the Epic Forged, hoping to before too much longer to at least try them out, and curious to see what other new irons they may have coming out in December. So
you won't need a driver. You could just take your driver out of your bag with the Epic Forged iron.
Put a 4-iron in there and get the same distance.
There you
go. Well, I would say right now for me, my hybrid is usually it's the oldest club in my bag for a reason, but it's my go-to. It's a old TaylorMade with a Acra shaft that I just absolutely. I mean, I've tried to replace it 100 times, and every time I keep going back to it. So it's kind of the reliable club, but probably the other driver's okay, but I think my putter. I recently got a putter fitting in the spring, and found out that of all the fittings that I've had, 3 or 4 fittings for all the clubs in my bag, I've never really had a true putter fitting, which is crazy to think about. But the guy basically told me that my toe was way too far up in the air. It was never touching the ground. So we flattened it, and it really changed my putting this year. And since then I've had a couple of personal best rounds, and a lot of consistency because I'm able to just putt a lot better and make a lot more. So those are probably my 2 confident clubs. But I know my game enough-ish that I know what I would love to put in those spots from Callaway. I know the Epic Flash Hybrid just came out, and that thing looks money. And yeah, and the Stroke Lab, I mean, the double wide, the V line, I mean, all those. I want to go get one like tomorrow. I don't want to wait for December, but yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on some of that new equipment.
Awesome, man. It's going to be fun, especially going through the putter fitting. For me, that was something I didn't realize they were going to have that much technology involved. With fitting, really dialing it in.
Nuts.
That was really cool. And, of course, I mean, getting to meet, Luke and the Toulon family just adds so much to it. Those guys are so engaged during the fitting, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty killer guys. So leading up to it, which is crazy to think, just about 4 months out. Anything?
3-ish. 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Anything you're nervous about coming up here as we approach it?
The net.
Spencer, you want to go?
Really, I've mentioned it on our team thread that we have. I've said it a couple of times, and I've seen it on the forum before, but I'm not good enough to get mad at my game or to get too nervous about. The first tee, I'm sure, will absolutely have those types of jitters, but the hope is that I'm not going to try to place too much pressure on myself because I know the golf is not the primary reason we're out there.
Right.
The engagement with the forum, enjoying everything that Callaway has to offer, learning what they have to show us and present us, and then just hanging out with them and my team. Those are the primary things, and that's what I don't want to waste my 2 days of match play being nervous and stressing out. But
right.
Like I said, first tee will have nerves and jitters, and that's whenever I did the Morgan Cup. We're standing at this club outside Tulsa, and Kev can speak to this for sure. It's the hole one has a 160-foot drop down to the fairway from the tee box, so you're standing feels like up on a cliff, and and JB with his cameras right behind you, filming it live, and so it's one of those just stick in the ground, one swing, hit the ball, and get out of the way.
Wow.
My man here put it right down the middle.
Wasn't too bad.
That's
Can't speak too much for the rest of the day, but
man, that was always like I'm not gonna lie, when I thought about getting into the events, especially when the regional rivalries were going on, and we had the first tee cam that was rolling. I swear I used to have nightmares about topping it off the tee, man. If I ever got in, just hitting it, you're teeing off from the blues and you hit it to the reds. It's just gonna
golly, first tee jitters is a real thing.
It is.
Honestly, approach shot after you hit a good drive on the first tee, those jitters are real too. And then that first putt is usually a good, still got some jitters there. If you eat a slider in between each shot on the first tee, I think you're good.
Oh man.
Fun fact. The slider never came out of Clayton's mouth. He just kept it like some guys just cigar in while they're playing. That's what Clayton did with sliders.
Like a squirrel storing nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You gotta keep that. It's all day flavor, man. It's all day flavor.
Oh, that's funny. Well, strangely enough, I don't know why I keep getting so nervous about it, but the service and just making sure that we can stay engaged and post pictures and videos actively and in real time, both at the Hideaway and really at Callaway too. I know that in past people have kind of said, well, it gets a little spotty. It's like, that's one thing I don't want to happen, is where we get kind of a blank or a gap in the live coverage thread, and in the middle of us trying to make a comeback or whatever, or us in the middle of competition and we have a gap because nobody has service for like 3 holes or something like that. So I think that probably is what makes me nervous, other than probably first tee, hoping and then really, I guess the only other thing is just hoping you bring your game to the fitting, and just making sure that you can find a swing when you get there, and you got nerves, and then adrenaline and hype and
concussion.
You may have a concussion. Can really screw things up. You look down and you see 3 balls there instead of 1.
So maybe what we need to do for pairings is pair someone up. Okay, do you have Sprint or AT&T? Okay, you guys
go.
Hard.
That's true.
Yeah, I had Verizon. I don't think I had any problems that day. The one piece of advice I'll give about the posting though is just make sure that you soak it in. I mean, obviously everybody wants you to post as much as you can and keep it engaged, but just make sure that you enjoy it and that be selfish to some extent.
Yeah.
You don't want to look back and regret any missing out on it.
And you're going to have plenty of chance to post pictures and other things along the way when you're not actually playing. So obviously get the play shots and keep the scores updated. But you're going to have time with the team where you're sitting and, eating dinner. You're going to have bus rides. You're going to have time back at the hotel. Lots of time to make sure you're posting maybe some of the stuff that got missed along the way. But definitely, it's definitely a practice. It's a partnership with whoever you're riding with to make sure you're keeping the forum updated. That is what it is. But, man, capture as much as you can. And I've told everybody we've interviewed with, take as many pictures as possible with the zoo crew and with your teammates. I got so many shots of the Hideaway and Callaway headquarters. I've got those galore. And the thing I regret is that I didn't capture all the moments with the Zoo Crew guys and with my teammates. We've got a team shot together and some other shots along the way. But that's one thing I really, really wish I could do all over again.
Yeah. One of the things that we've done to hopefully combat that is we've created a single like Google Drive account that everybody can upload pictures to. So you don't have to try to check and see if a teammate got a picture of you or not, or, hey, I wanted this picture from number 11 that I didn't get. Do you have it? Like, no, everybody can just upload all of their pictures to that one account, and then anybody can go in and download whatever ones they want.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good deal.
You guys have any questions for us?
Zach?
Closing comments?
I do actually. I would say, or I will ask, what do you think? What is a critical item that you may or may not have missed? But what one item in the Hideaway Pro Shop do you think is critical for every Granddaddy participant?
Wow.
Maybe you got it and maybe you didn't, but I just wanted to.
So here's my take on that. Like, I think that it's hard to pinpoint down one item, but I will say one critical learning for me, or one critical lesson for me, was don't shop once, because they refill the shop, and when they refill it, they don't put the same stuff in there. They're putting fresh items in there that weren't in there, yesterday or 3 hours ago, when people are coming through. And so there were things that Kev and I both tried to backtrack and call the Hideaway and get later on, because we found out other guys had them, and it was too late. They were gone. They sold out. So, I mean, they restocked different hats, different head covers, different pullovers. So don't shop it once. That's what I would say. You're going to see a lot of stuff in there you like, but if you're not crazy about it, just come back.
Yeah. I'm a big ball marker guy. So buying a nice ball marker, even though you can get all the copper Hideaway ones that, I mean, I think we all probably grabbed about 300 of.
That's all you got?
I like the higher quality, bigger ones. That's always a big one for me. And, I brought some home to some buddies and stuff. Yardage book, I don't know if anybody else.
I wish I had one.
That. Don't be afraid to ask, because they didn't have them out. I just had to go and ask if they had them. Yeah. That was a pretty cool one.
But definitely get the pitch tools, the pitch fix tools, and the ball markers out at the range. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have like a sack like full of Hideaway ball markers. So
actually, what do you sleep on at night?
Yeah, I just every now and then I pull them out and shake them so I can hear them, and I'll use them while I'm out there. I've sent off a few to some different guys.
Bag full of coins. I see you.
He's like Scrooge McDuck, where he just jumps back into them. You made a beanbag chair out of them.
Yep. No, it's I didn't want to run out, and I kept hearing guys a year later that were talking about they were all gone, and I was like, they're free.
So what did you guys, after the fact, look back and wish you had done differently?
I think for me, to Clayton's point, just more pictures with teammates and with the Zoo Crew. I think that's the big one. Like he said, I have a ton of pictures of the mountains and everything, but even when I was doing videos, I wish I would have done a video with my partner, just checking with them a little bit more throughout the day. That's my big one.
And to that point, the interesting thing about it is when you think about the kind of the grandeur of this event and the obviously the site, the backdrop that you're playing in, all that stuff is amazing. It's beautiful. The Callaway headquarters that most of us will probably never, step foot into again. That stuff is things you want to capture. And at the same time, that's not even what you remember most. What you remember most is the conversations that you had where you were laughing hysterically. You couldn't stop. Your sides were hurting. You wish you could have captured those moments. Or you wish you could have captured, sitting down, listening to, Sean Toulon explain his putting philosophy. Those are things that I just wish I would have been, even just for some of my teammates, kind of being that guy that's, snipering shots for them, because we share all of our photos also. But I wish I could have gotten more of that stuff, because as much as the course is amazing, and the headquarters are phenomenal, it's those moments, man, you wish you could keep forever.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite pictures, out of all the beautiful pictures that we took as a team, one of my favorite pictures is from the Wednesday night dinner, the sausage and send it dinner with.
Oh, yeah.
So we took a picture of AJ and I together.
I actually caught that too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite pictures, just because I spent an evening sitting there talking to AJ just about everything, family, everything but golf, really. And that's one of my favorite memories. So I was glad we were able to capture it. Those are the memories that I think back on.
Awesome.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Well, hey guys, our meeting is going to wrap up here, but I just wanted to thank you guys for taking a few minutes to chat with us and have a full conversation. It's really cool getting a chance to meet everybody. I am so excited to follow this team this year. You guys are killing it on the thread, so I know the excitement's just going to go through the roof in December. So leading up to it, definitely excited. Kevin and I will be watching very closely, obviously, and if there's anything we can do to help along the way, let us know.
Yeah,